Hey, good morning.
Good morning. What are
What's new?
what are my levels like? I'm going through this new
Good. Your levels are
microphone
good.
thing. Okay, cool. I will quit touching
Yeah,
shit then.
no worries.
Yeah, I feel like a lot has gone on, and like I wasn't tracking it very carefully because I'm a little distracted. But it doesn't matter because it's gratitude time, which I totally forgot about.
Yeah.
All right, I know exactly where I'm going to start. Really grateful for literally everybody who showed up for church on Sunday morning. Because that was great.
Yeah.
We did the Church of Reason, the secular sermon thing in Minecraft. We had my cousin-in-law Russ and his son Leon, who is a treat.
7 years old, really well spoken for a 7-year-old. I mean, like
yeah,
eyebrow raising, as for a young kid, he was very well spoken.
I've sat down with this kid playing Lego before, and yeah, he's like next level. Like he's like reading books the way I did like 4 or 5 years later, just like hungry, which is fun. So it was great to have him in there. It was great to have everybody in the comments. It was really fun to be I don't know. It was good. And I invite literally everybody who's part of the hashtag Coffee family. You're more than welcome to join us for the comments. Like we do it on So Local anyway, so you can just join in the comments normally, but you could throw gratitude there, and it ends up on the permanent monument that we have inside the cathedral in Minecraft, which is pretty fun. It's like a new wrinkle. Although we're gonna need a bigger boat.
Yep, definitely. Yeah, it was a lot of fun. Yeah. So, what am I grateful for today? I don't know yet. Ask again later. We would love to put up your gratitudes if you have one. Put it in the comments, and we'll talk about it. Grateful for online learning to keep my kids safe. Yeah, right. Ginny, was it you that posted your son's AP English reading list? I was like, man, that's a good reading list. Handmaid's Tale was on there. Ooh. I thought it was maybe Ginny's. I'm not sure. Grateful for my go-to snack, apples and extra crunchy peanut butter.
All right. I can get behind that.
Yeah.
Right. I'm actually getting some shares out myself. All right. See Fred's.
Yep. Grateful for moving a few people a little closer to making this a better world. Yeah.
Yeah, as usual, I have to say Fred's patience is epic.
Yeah.
And inspiring.
Yeah, that was Ginny's kids reading list. It was pretty impressive. That's a good start to a classics library for sure. Mm-hmm. So I got an office chair. That's what I'm grateful for. Laugh Track treated herself to a new office chair from IKEA. So I got my old office chair back, which is much more comfortable than the straight back chair I've been sitting in over here for a while.
Nice.
So happy about that. My back is very happy about that for sure. Because this is my workspace and my play space. I sit over here, play games, watch TV from here. So I'm in this spot quite often, and it's nice to be comfortable there. That's cool. So we went to IKEA and hadn't done that in a while.
Fun.
Oh yeah, there's the leading list. AP reading Joseph Conrad, Heart of Darkness, which of course is the novel that Apocalypse Now was based on, except it takes place in the Congo, in Africa, not in Vietnam. Margaret Atwood's Handmaid's Tale, Dante's Inferno, Shakespeare's Hamlet, Samuel Beckett, Waiting for Godot, and Toni Morrison, Beloved. That's a hell of a list, man. That's a really good list. It's AP English. I'm not sure what grade. It's high school. So,
all right.
Yeah, that's good stuff.
Wow. Yeah, I mean, Margaret Atwood, the Handmaid's Tale is going to hit a little bit close to home. I mean, that show, like, just, it's chilling. It's chilling.
Yeah, yeah. The sinister nature of the townsmen dressed in black, carrying rifles and with their earpieces, and you can kind of their half heard conversations in the background where they're watching everything. Feels a lot like the American Taliban to me. Yeah, Apocalypse Now is awesome, but the book is significantly. I mean, it's a book about colonialism, not about Vietnam, right? And in that context, it's It's kind of different. Also, I cannot recommend highly enough the Anthony Bourdain episode where he went to the places that were written about in the book by Joseph Conrad as one of his shows, and nearly died, which is something that happens when you travel in those parts of Africa. It's a very dangerous place, not because of the people necessarily, but because of the chaos and mayhem unleashed by centuries of colonialism by the French and the Belgians and others, and the English and the Germans, etc. So, yeah.
She said, grateful for all of you. I was so happy to see the notification come up for the show. I almost forgot it was Monday. That is very sweet and adorable. Dreen said, also grateful I have doctor's appointment today. We'll get to learn the baby's gender. Let's hope. I'll tell you all on Wednesday because, of course, our fam Dreen is preggers.
Yeah, good recommendation from a great illustrator there. Get the version of Dante's Inferno with illustrations by Gustave Doré. Insane. Good. That's cool. Good morning, Diane Cash. I hope things are well where you are. You are living in the northern part of a state with 580 wildfires burning currently, and we know you had one. Yeah, she's right outside Yosemite, right on the edge of the Yosemite Valley, and they have something like 580 wildfires in California right now, including the biggest one in California history. So it's not good out there. I'm pretty sure they're wishing for a hurricane to put that stuff out.
Right.
Yeah.
That's bananas.
It's shit's bananas for sure. So meanwhile, in the Gulf of Mexico, Marco is sort of blowing out. Marco separated the circulation from the storminess and is going to, probably bring a lot of rain to the northern Gulf Coast. But right behind it, Tropical Storm Laura will probably become a hurricane, and it looks like it might be a major hurricane by the time it approaches the coast. So we're keeping an eye on that. No problem for us here on the Gulf Coast of Florida. It's going to go right on by. But, still, it's a small pond out there when you put a 300-mile across storm system in it.
Right.
So, yeah, 5 fires near me, Diane says. Yeah. Yosemite. My friend Sam Ronan has started going by Yosemite in our chat, which is kind of funny because he's Jewish and it makes it even sillier. Yeah, Deb brought up the Republican National Convention platform, which is whatever Trump says is fine with us. So when I hear Republicans, when I have people, like we had somebody on a Solo Live posting, like, stop calling Trump supporters Republicans. But I'm like, well, he has 90% approval among Republicans that are polled every single time. So you can't tell me that he's not a Republican. He is. He represents the Republican Party, and the Republican Party is signing off on everything he does. Whatever they say is not matched by how they vote. They had their opportunity to rid us of this plague, quite literally, before it happened. And they didn't do so because they are getting the judges they want and the conservative agenda items they want and the destruction of decades, centuries of infrastructure and federal agencies that keep us safe in our houses, in our food systems, in industry. And they like that. So that's they announced this morning there's going to be no platform. We're just going to approve whatever Trump wants to do. The Trump agenda is our platform. The Trump agenda is their platform. So, do you like having people, scooped up off the street by unidentified police officers, federal agents, paramilitaries, and taken to secret locations? Well, this is your time. This is exactly what you told us Obama was going to do. So, I guess good for you. He's on your side.
Yeah, for now.
Yeah,
like
there's lots of people who thought that way about Hitler too.
Yeah, right up until that.
And Pinochet and Castro and.
Yeah, I mean I think that's why we keep coming back to the authoritarian comparisons because they're so stark. It's so obvious to everybody with who went to a history class where they talked about authoritarianism for more than 5 seconds. This is a pattern we've seen 18 trillion times, right? Like the signs that you might be descending into fascism. I mean, we are currently watching all of them.
We're way down the list.
Yeah, it's not ideal. It's not great.
Bubble says my audio is distorted. Corey's volume is too low. Is that is anybody else getting that problems with our audio?
I private messaged you
Pull
that
mine
you were a
down a
little
bit.
hot. I can come up a little
Okay. All right. I pull mine down a little bit. Is that better?
bit. Check 1 2. Oh, I'm a little hot now.
Testing 1 2 3. Testing
Check
1 2
check
3.
check. Checkity check 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 check.
We should have done it 9:55, but whatever.
Check 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 check.
You sound good.
Thank you.
How about? Am I doing okay? Still too hot? All right.
No, you're definitely not too hot now.
Okay. Yeah. Story of my life. So. Oh yeah. That.
Yes, Greg is hot. Corey is low. See
All right.
it. I mean, yeah, that's
Thanks,
just
Dave.
true. That's I can't argue with that at all.
Yeah.
Greg
By the way,
has
we can't actually. I do. Did
I don't
push
know.
something
You
in?
don't. To me,
Okay. Okay, that's weird. Yeah, I actually we can't monitor as we broadcast because we're doing this on the low tech kind of end. But thank you for the heads up on the volume. We appreciate that.
SN6,
Yeah, lightning started about a dozen fires. I said that they had a lightning storm, a dry lightning storm that started a whole shitload of wildfires out there.
row. Yeah. In some good news that I haven't posted to the good news channel yet, SN6 did their test fire of SN29, which is one of the Raptor engines.
Nice.
They're like labeling all the Raptor engines. I think they always were. There's people are using it to kind of delineate them because their plan is to start doing between 2 and 5 Raptor engines a week out of their manufacturing thing. Like, everything they're doing comes from how do we make 1,000 of these a year, which is crazy.
That's nuts.
It's crazy town. It's crazy town, USA.
1,000 a year
or more. Yeah.
Wow.
Like they want a BFR to be coming off the line every week. Right?
That's
like
just crazy.
What? Yeah. That's the thing. Like when they're all, out there, I still I had lost all hope that there was any chance that I would see space in any way, shape, or form. And in the last 5 years, it's gone from like a whisper of a dream to it's it's not impossible now.
Well, we're where we should have been in the early 1980s if we had kept on the path that we were on.
I agree.
Instead, we took a shuttle detour,
right?
Which never worked like it was supposed to. It never had the load capacity it was supposed to have.
That's what she said.
And it never got us out of the harbor.
Low Earth orbit was the most that they did, which is terrible.
Yep.
Terrible.
It's the raking. That's right. That's he said it again this week. The reason they're having all these wildfires is because they don't rake their forests.
I saw a different, Trumpist doing the same thing. Like, oh, they used to take care of the underbrush or whatever. I'm like, dude, you just sit the fuck down. You're done. Oh, those videos of the Finnish people all raking their forest. It's satirical videos before 2020. Yay.
Yeah, Elizabeth reminds us that Colorado is also having big wildfire problems. She's talking about a neighbor that passed out from the bad area yesterday.
Oh shit!
They came home, got up, and made them dinner. So,
that's good. Bubba is reminding us they're going to need about, I think it's 31, but 35 rocket engines for the Starship booster alone. I mean, that's just what? Like one of them flew the whole machine, right? And they're going to use three boosters to fly it in atmosphere, the actual Starship itself, and 3 of them to fly it around in space because they're optimized for whether or not there's ambient oxygen or not around, right? Which is smart. But the booster is just going to be 35 air optimized. Go fuck yourself. This is going to be insane. And maybe down the road, what happens if you build a booster that's optimized for all space and then fire the booster from orbit or the moon towards Mars and maybe cut the trip time down to weeks? Like that.
I think the problem is going to be slowing down when you get there at that speed.
So take the booster with you and use it to slow down, and now you have a booster that you can refuel there. How do you like me now?
Interesting.
And then separate when you get there, and just use use a barely fueled BFR to land.
Right.
That's cool. I like thinking about rockets because everything else sucks.
Here's a problem I want California to address. Donna Arbogast brings it up that will solve unemployment, right? Too, right? Guys out there with rakes. But here's the thing about how they've been combating wildfires in California. They use prison labor. Okay. Here's the issue with that. Convicts, once they're out of prison, cannot become firefighters.
Yeah, that always seemed...
Right now, they can't get enough prison labor because of COVID. And they're using them, and then when they get out of jail, they can't get jobs as firefighters because of their felony convictions.
Yeah,
Fuck, man.
I wish that there was some semblance of actual rehabilitation in the system, because that's what we tacitly say that it's for that, right? It's not really, and we all know that. Anyway, back to the funny and the old coffee of the dock days, or just use a fucking EM drive. Problem solved.
Whatever happened with that? Has there been any?
I like do news searches for it every once in a while, and sometimes it's like, I mean, it did something, but we don't really know what it is. And the guy who originally created it and said he's got like deals with the UK government and there's nothing from him, right? But like, I also wonder if maybe they just stole him and hid him in a.
No, like this is an article from Wired magazine from May of this year. NASA's M Drive leader has a new interstellar project. Harold White left NASA in December to join a new nonprofit focused on building technology to bring humans to the outer solar system and beyond.
Could you imagine, like, SpaceX gets to the point where they've got the rocket thing just like capital D done, right?
Right.
They're like, trip to Mars with like fully loaded rockets is taking like 5 seconds. Yeah, Bubbaviz knows it's up. Why am I not surprised that he knows what the EM drive is? I mean, that's the whole thing, right? Like, if you're in space and you can actually use it to change your vector, then it works.
Right.
Anyway, it'd be fantastic. I do want to let everybody know, everybody who has been a guest on Tripcast or is in the top referrers, like probably top 10, you're going to get early access on Wednesday.
I was on.
You were
on.
I know.
Yay!
You will be going to there. Yeah. And I'm booking a few. Elizabeth is going to come on the pod. Anybody else who wants to come in and do a channel about anything, like, I love all you guys. The what you want to make a channel about is. That's awesome. So I've got a bunch of time separated in the next couple of days to just crank out a bunch of episodes for anybody that wants to get early access on Wednesday. You're more than welcome. Nice. Fred, of course, will be on there as well. Excuse me. And yeah,
cool.
So there's that.
I'm excited about it. Actually, I'd like to spend less time on Facebook. That would be good.
Yeah, I mean, okay. I get that. Dave just saying you need to rework that Chirp logo. It's way too Twittery. I think that was kind of intentional.
I just realized I'm going to have a gray stripe in my
kind of in the name.
Mostly gray mustache now. What's going on there? But that's weird.
Way to bring us home, Greg.
Yeah. Yeah, but I don't ever look in a mirror. This is my daily mirror time.
Yeah, no. Well, it's only when I go live that I'm like, why doesn't anyone like arrest me in my own house for my hairdo? Like, that's what I don't. And I don't see it until I show up here.
Yeah.
So that's
we can't believe. Honestly, we can't believe Babs puts up with you. But that's just
I can't either. I literally don't even know.
Yeah.
Is that Casey Marion? Yeah, but yeah, that's what we were saying before. Or Greg is super fascinated with Greg being hot and me being low.
Yeah.
The escape hatch out of Facebook is being created, and it's gonna take everyone going there and bringing people there to have any tiny chance of creating the kind of network effect that will give us sort of what we're used to at Facebook, so that we don't have to keep coming back. Like, that's going to be the biggest challenge that we have, is figuring out ways to slowly but surely just not be here anymore. Like, what are we going to need to do that, right?
Right.
I think about that all the time.
Live streaming. That's what we're going to need.
Yes. or the ability to say like live stream to YouTube, but have it show up in line in your channel, so it's like you're there anyway.
Right.
You know,
That'd be good.
welcome to the So Local Mustache Cast. Yes, where we talk about the So Local.
Grace thinks it's hilarious. You might get arrested in your own house for your hairdo.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Facebook is an extremely toxic platform. It is, and Twitter's not that much better. Like everyone, like I find that because I have focused on kind of curating a media diet with Twitter, right? Like I'm sort of purpose driving at going after the kinds of people and things that I want to hear more about. It's a little bit better, but the political Twitter is garbage. It's everywhere. And because you're incentivized if you're a shithead, right? The more the angrier you are, the shittier you post, the more knee-jerk attention you get from people that get angry, and that algorithm just reinforces itself until that's all you get. And I kind of feel like it's training people's brains too. And honestly, Facebook, I kind of feel like Facebook kind of over years trained mine too. And getting away from that is a high priority, obviously.
Yeah,
I'm super biased, but
I just want to be cautious of geographic cures. No matter where we go, there we are, right? We take ourselves with us.
It's true, but we get to be conscious about, okay, what happened on these platforms and why,
right?
And we get to be the ones that have the biggest voices in the room as to how that moves forward. So, I mean, we get to move away from the continent and go build a better system. Just we're not going to have any slaves.
Okay.
Oh, and women get to vote like on day one.
Yeah, I want to. I want the Kellyanne Conway thing came up earlier. Like, haha. But I'm, seeing that both she and George Conway are pulling away from their commitments to focus on family things. I kind of believe that's true.
You know what?
And,
you know why?
Well,
right?
I'll be glad to be. Yeah, I know. I'll be glad to be rid of her as part of the White House milieu. But I want to be careful about not bagging on them as a family right now.
I think it's the classiest thing either one of them has ever done. And really, the main thing is yesterday it came out in the news and on Twitter that their daughter wanted to file for emancipation.
She has filed for emancipation.
Okay, yeah, for cause, right? I mean,
Right.
Nobody's crazy. And the one thing that really jumped out at me, because that doesn't surprise me at all, right? It's like anti-Trump person in a family with her mom just lying like a psycho all the time. That would freak me out.
Right.
But she made sure everybody knew that her dad wasn't any better. Right. Like she told everyone, be careful because my dad doesn't believe anything that you guys believe. And that's exactly what, and Greg, you started this with me as far as the Lincoln Project is concerned. Like, hey, maybe we should be concerned.
Be careful because the minute this is over, they're going to be coming for us.
Yep.
What we believe in.
I started talking about it a lot a couple weeks ago. And it's just true. They're making giant freaking full bore guns, and it's only a matter of time before they're pointed at us. So yay for getting rid of Trump times a million. But we could be staring in the face what's going to come after, and that's going to be part of it for sure. But still going back to the fact that if they're both pulling away from these things because they're realizing like this is it, their family is literally falling apart, full stop. And they decide to do a human thing, if that's what it is. And it's, I mean, all appearances suggest that it very well could be, that's not horrible.
Yep. Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, alternative facts, she can kind of rot in hell for her position at that.
Yeah, I'm worried about the daughter. That's my primary concern. And I'm glad they are worried enough about her to take the time off and go clean house. That's important.
Yep.
So, I have no problem bagging on Kellyanne Conway as a mouthpiece for Trump. She's not that now. She's stopping that now. So go fix your family, lady.
Yep.
Good luck. Good luck.
Yeah.
And I hope it all works out.
Indeed.
Gosh, I feel so healthy.
I know. Aren't we woke as hell? Yeah, Trump is now saying that he's winning in the polls. I love this. I love it.
Right.
I want nothing more than for all of his voters to think he's crushing it.
Yeah, that's good with me. I mean, well, he's leading in all the polls that the field marshals in the bunker with him show him. So, have you ever seen Downfall? Have you ever actually watched the movie?
No.
It's based on a couple of books about the fall of Berlin, including extensive interviews with two women who one was a stenographer and one was a dental assistant in the bunker. They were there as part of his personal staff, so they saw everything and managed to escape in the last days and survive the war. But Downfall is a movie about that last month in the bunker under Berlin, and there's a lot of spooky parallels with how Donald Trump sees the world and how Hitler saw the world in that moment.
Jeff Flake, who has earned his name a number of times, is joining over 24 former GOP members of Congress to launch Republicans for Biden.
Huh.
So,
Yeah. Do you remember when somebody confronted him in an elevator because,
I sure do.
And he voted to confirm Kavanaugh?
Yeah.
Yeah. So fuck that guy.
So, I mean, he's got a line. It's just this side of rapey. But thanks, I guess.
Yeah.
And this is the thing, like a bunch of ex-Congress people, like, all right, buddy. But, how many Democrats pooled together, even ex-Democrats pooled together to say, please don't vote for Obama? That's a big fat less than zero.
Yeah. I thought it was interesting that there were featured speakers in the Democratic National Convention who are Republicans.
Yeah. Grace has a good and terrible and sad and horrible point. If he says he's leading the polls, then he can scream when he doesn't win that it was rigged. He's setting the stage to say he should have won. God damn it. I don't love it anymore because you're totally right. I like beer. Brett Kavanaugh. Brett Kavanaugh is another one of those people that, again, I hear Fred's voice in my head talking about peace and understanding and awesomeness. I would headbutt that motherfucker into next week. And I don't feel good about it. I feel bad about it. But I think I still might do it. Because he's guilty as hell. And he knows it. And he was lying the whole time through that thing. Fucking, anyway. January 2nd, 1984. Look it up.
Yeah, John Kasich was one of the speakers at the DNC, Lori. So it was more than one. Was Cindy McCain? Cindy McCain, wife of John McCain, widow of John McCain, spoke at the DNC. Yeah,
and I like a lot of progressives were super pissed off because that took time away from AOC, and I get that, but at the same time, like, we need to win. We need to win. And there's a bunch of people in the middle and on the right who we do not agree with, who on this are like, yep. And because of that, we might win the Senate. We might get a lead in the Congress that takes 2 generations to fill, or snap back the other way. Which of course gives us the Supreme Court. And John Kasich can come up and say whatever the fuck he wants and support Biden, in my clearly humble opinion.
Yep. Yeah, appealing to moderates, and that's a good point. Like listening to the Pod Save America guys last week, they don't need to lean towards AOC. Progressives are going to vote for Joe Biden. They just are. Voting progressives are going to vote for Joe Biden. They're going to raise hell about it, and that's good. That's fine. Yeah, it's fine to challenge Joe Biden and Kamala Harris to lean left is fine. But moderates, maybe not, right? So that's the votes we have to lean towards. We have to, and we're going to, and we're doing that. So, yeah,
is what it is, man. And this, I keep going back to, and I've heard a couple times. I know we talked about it here a little bit, but somebody was saying that the way this is trending is exactly how it went in California. Where in California, Democrats have a total stranglehold on statewide government, right?
Right.
And that doesn't mean there isn't crazy Republicans in little isolated areas or whatever, but their power is extremely downregulated. And that could very well be how it ends up being nationally for a long time, right? And I don't know about you guys, but I would be all right with that. But that would be okay for me.
Yep. exactly accurate. Elizabeth Wood Kavanaugh is a rapey-eyed weasel who can't control his emotions. That's true. But look how blustery and angry and shitheaded he got when people started challenging him.
Oh man, like
Says
that.
a lot about the guy, doesn't it?
It does. I think it's, to me, it said a lot about the type, right? Because that's what you do, right? Yeah. And anyway.
And not just as a man, but as a wealthy American, right? As a kid that grew up extraordinarily privileged, you know, anytime the laser light focuses on the privileged, we got problems. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, that's a thing.
57% of Republicans find 176,000 COVID deaths acceptable.
Yeah, 90% of Republicans polled support Donald Trump. So yeah, right? I'm sorry, that is their party. That's you are the Trump party, and you know it's your job to fix it.
Belarus's Lyshenko is like walking around carrying a machine gun now, apparently.
Oh my god.
Yeah. So like at what point does Trump bring like a big gun out on stage to like, I don't know, like try and fuck it or something in some weird Second Amendment ritual?
2 doors down from my house, there's now a flag hanging from a tree, and it's a blue flag. It says Trump in big letters across the top, and it's Rambo's body with a big M60 machine gun and Trump's face on it. I'm not even kidding. It's a professionally made graphic banner. Yeah.
Dave Myers has a new punk rock band.
Yeah. Let's also talk about challenging people that are posting online that the Democrats removed God from the Pledge of Allegiance. I saw the Pledge of Allegiance 4 times during the convention, and all 4 times the word God was in it, even though that's not written in the original Pledge of Allegiance. The Pledge of Allegiance didn't include the word God until the 1950s. And it was added as a way to smoke out communists because they're all atheists, I guess, was the thinking there. But yeah, no, that didn't happen. It just did not happen. I watched that little boy recite the Pledge of Allegiance and say the whole thing, including one nation under God, right in it. I watched all 4 nights of the Democratic National Convention. It really pisses me off that people just keep posting that shit like it's real. It's crazy. It's insane. Yeah.
Yeah. Elizabeth nailed it. The Red Scare gave us the God part, which is hilarious, right? Like, we're going to make you all super, super afraid of socialism.
We tricked those secret agents into, they had to give up their Communist Party membership because
God. It's like, it's all, to me, I only see cynical control levers, right? The people that are controlling through fear will make you afraid because socialism. And when that doesn't work, they'll make you afraid because God or lack thereof. And we're seeing it happen now, right?
Well, I watched Colleen Soyenen post the other day about how she wants to move to a capitalistic country. Good luck.
Bye. Yeah. I guess
Saudi Arabia. I'm sure you'll be very popular there,
right?
Your outspoken nature and your uncovered head.
Somalia is capitalist by your definition.
Yep.
Anyway, it's just it's like that. Watching people get brainwashed is really weird. It's weird, and like maybe they always were, and we just like, because we were like hanging out at Gills and not talking about anything. Maybe I just didn't know, right? And that maybe that's under the surface the whole time. I mean, that's how the racism thing showed up for me here. Like, I was hanging out with everyone and didn't know, and then all of a sudden, people are just super fucking racist. You find out they were that way the whole time.
We've learned a lot since Charleston and Charlottesville, haven't we?
Yeah.
I mean, I saw more Confederate flags in Moon Lake after Charleston, the Charleston church shooting, which was committed by a guy who sported not only the Confederate flag, but the South African white nationalist flag, the old Republic of South Africa flag. So, yeah, I saw more of that after Charleston than I ever had before. And they want to say that Obama is the one that focused on racism? Okay. Yeah, Ghana would tolerate her shit for about 5 minutes. Virginia. Yeah.
Okay. I seriously can't stop thinking about, and I kind of want to get to Dreen's comment too, but the booster idea to go to Mars faster. Not that I'm like desperate to think about positive things since I keep pivoting, but that's true. Speaking of privilege, my boss bought a $1,500 coffee machine, and I haven't had a raise in 7 years. I know that's a weird tangent, but inequality on display. By the time she bought the matching electric kettle, the retail price is more than I take home in 2 months. And like, I want to say as caveat, I totally want people to be successful, right? But that's crazy. I actually retweeted. This is Dan Price guy that made $70,000 the minimum income that you were allowed to have at his company, including the janitor. He just decided that, and everyone said you're fucking crazy. There's no way your company's going to survive. Yada 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 yada. And of course, the downturn happened, and people started laying people off or whatever. He sat everyone down and said, "Okay, this is the situation. Are you guys okay with a pay cut if we do it straight across the board, myself included?" Right? And that way we don't have to let anyone go, and we can get really inventive and figure out kind of how to do it, right? So they actually all take a pay cut, and 2 or 3 months later, they're crushing, like just destroying, because they decided to get together and work as a team. And it's constantly, what can we do? What can we do? What can we do? And everyone's plugged in, everyone's vested, everyone's excited about it, right? The company effectively, because of it, has sort of a de facto UBI, right? Whether you're a janitor or a programmer, you start at 70,000 period. And it works. It works. Go figure. I mean, they're making bank now as a whole company, right? And the owner is richer because of it. Anyway, that's all I have to say about that.
Yeah, but he chose to do that, Corey. That's different than when the government mandates that you have to do it.
I guess.
It's why it's in my experience locally why local government doesn't want to fix homelessness. They think that private charities should be able to do it. They don't want to be told that they have to fix it. That's a fact, Jack. Yeah. Yeah. Oh, snap. Hey, Jareen, that's pretty offensive. She's cheating and running her law office out of our 501c3 building.
Whoop.
Yeah. I'm late getting the kids on virtual this morning. Morning, everyone. I'm grateful to have the ability to keep my kids at home. Yes, we're glad that you're able to do that. That was one of our gratitude things on Friday. Was we're grateful we get to work from home. Not everybody gets to do that,
right?
Yeah.
Right.
That's Dave Myers for you. Yeah. Yeah, I think we might be headed for even worse economic times. I know it's really I really went way out on a limb for that prediction. Huh? What are you doing?
Just looking at something, and then I had to.
Yeah, I'm just out of stuff to. I'm out of stuff to think about.
Sorry.
Now.
We could talk about rockets more.
I'm going to cook a corned beef today. That's on my list of things to do.
Yeah. Cooking.
Yeah.
Seriously though, let's walk through this here. You launch. This might be problematic. You launch a BFR.
I'm settling in.
Yeah. Buckle in for this. Yeah, get cozy. So you launch like a full stack BFR plus booster.
That's a big fucking rocket.
A BFR,
right?
Like all of it, right? It's the big booster with like 31 or 35, depending on how they do it. Raptors, and again, presumably all of them are rated for or specialized for atmosphere, right? Because I think that's how they're all going to be. But you maybe load the whole BFR with like a bunch of Raptor engines that are space rated. like vacuum rated. Anyway, long story short, you get one of those boosters that's used to kicking you out of the Earth's gravity well, and load them up with vacuum rated things, Raptors, and then you punch the entire thing straight at Mars, and again use it to deaccelerate on the other side because you're going to have to, which is awesome. They will have had refueling stations, on Mars for a while, let's say.
Right.
So they're going to send one the second that they do that, because you can actually make the kind of rocket fuel that they have from the Martian atmosphere. It's kind of why they used it.
Right.
And so you could basically just like that could be the train, right? The Starship could go down and come back up or whatever, and you just have this giant space-based rocket that you refuel and use to throw shit at Earth or Mars quickly.
Yeah, you could. I
mean,
it's constantly orbiting. Like a big figure eight.
Yes. Yeah. Exactly.
Yep.
That'd
Or
be
multiple
really
ones. Yeah.
right. And it's still, I think the window is still going to be every 2 years, just because the distances involved are so ridiculous. Otherwise, they probably wouldn't. Like, it might widen the window significantly, but I think that probably like a 6-month space every 2 years would probably still be the window.
Right.
But I mean, it takes, again, like what, 3 months right now, 3 to 6 months. Could you get it down to a month? Because I
just don't know. I think that the reason they haven't talked more about that is because the deceleration would take more fuel than actually getting there. It's a big.
Well, no. I know they're talking about deaccelerating. They're already doing that, even just if it's Starship.
Right.
That's a thing. Like that. They're that's already baked into the plan. I think it's just a matter of, how much fuel you can use punching out of the Earth system, and then make sure you have enough to deaccelerate into so you can have your insertion orbit.
Right.
Anyway,
good stuff.
Right.
Yeah. Well, I think
they have options now, I guess.
I think the window thing is interesting because I could see them, calculating and launching a train every month. So you'd have a constant availability. Some things, it doesn't matter if they get there soon. Some things can take plenty of time to get there, right? You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Non-priority cargo, building materials and things for later, you could send on the slow times of the year.
The slow train,
matter. Yeah,
and that's almost like you would basically have. You'd almost want it to be like going out towards the Martian orbit, but so slowly so that it just times it. Does that make sense?
Yeah,
right?
Yeah. That's what I'm talking about. Like,
yeah. You basically let it fall off the Earth,
yeah,
and then wait for Mars to catch up.
Yeah, like the first several loads will be high priority things like life support and food and people, right? And some building materials. But the more things get there, the more stuff there is to use to build, because rocket bodies can be used for a whole bunch of things, right? They could be used as habitats. They could be laid down. They could be buried and laid down and made,
like if you have a Starship
living under the surface.
Those Starship landers, I don't think you want to turn them into anything else.
Well, we'll see.
Because
if they're making them fast and as cheap as he's talking about, it might cost more to bring them back than to just use them there for material.
This is the thing. I don't think so.
Right, or bundle them together on Phobos and make a habitat on Phobos.
Mars,
right?
I mean, like, they're not going to be rated for 1,000 flights. Although he said that's entirely possible, right?
Right.
So like they do 10 flights, and you're like, why don't we just put this into the big roundy, space station?
Make a space station, right?
Yeah.
Well, that's the plan, as I understand it now, is they're going to launch an ISS that will orbit Mars, a version of ISS that will the platform. So we won't be like direct landing on Mars all the time. We'll be going to the space station and then, basically shuttling people down in some other
They should just use Phobos for that. I mean, just hollow it out. Don't be dumb. Yeah. It's already there.
Yeah. Well, I've read Red Mars. That's exactly
what
I know, right?
In
the book. Yeah.
Yeah. Anyways, I'm easily amused by space stuff.
And they ended up calling it Clark. They ended up calling the station on Phobos Clark, by the way, after Arthur C. Clarke.
Oh, yeah, I forgot about that.
Yeah.
Good stuff.
Yeah, and that's near future. Like that's what I love about Red Mars. It's 2038 when that book takes place. And
Right.
one of the first things they've done is they've Marsified a whole bunch of heavy equipment like tractors and lifting equipment and drilling equipment and sent it out there so that the engineering teams just have to uncrate it, service it, and teleoperate it.
And exactly. They're all video game robots. Sylvester said if they're making tiny homes out of shipping containers here. Yeah, see, and like I am for that, except that the radiation on Mars means you want to get the fuck underground right now. Like within the first year, like, you don't want to be up there for more than a year.
Right.
Because there is no Van Allen belt. You're getting smashed by cosmic rays.
Yeah, then the whole way out too. If there's a solar flare, that's a big problem.
Right.
So.
Like add that to the timeline that you want to have, and this is why like the tunnel drilling machines that the boring machines that they're creating, like it's all part of the plan, right?
Yeah.
Although hearing about those lava tubes on the moon, and even the show that came out that was actually really good, like the little dramatization of the Martian colony. I think it's just called Mars.
Right.
They were looking for lava tubes right off the bat.
Right.
But apparently the ones on the moon are giant, which is super interesting.
Yeah, big enough to just build colonies in right now.
Yeah. Let's go. Let's do it.
Yep.
Like I want to weigh 20 pounds.
So no vegetable gardens? I'm not sure how that works out.
Well, no, you would still have domed farming apparatus on the surface. You just couldn't live there. You definitely wouldn't want to live there. Now, granted, like I think they're gonna create versions of that for underground as well, and just use electricity to like solar to do it, and even nuclear. Like you're gonna want to have nuclear there because the solar doesn't even work as well up there.
Yeah, Rickover nuclear submarine reactors are probably going to be used for that. I can imagine that's
right. Just slap in a box and
small, lightweight, send them up there.
Yeah.
Put a big red sign on them.
Just like
Use them as a heating element.
Just warm your coffee on top of the nuclear reactor. It's fine.
Yes.
Good.
Yes.
What else are you gonna do with it? Yeah, hydroponic underground. Thank you for that. Was what I was trying to say and did not say it anywhere near.
I like also that there's a lot of soil composition study going on right now, like exactly what you'd need to do to amend the soil on Mars to make it grow things.
Which is that's to me is crazy. Like I get that they're like smarty pants chemists and biologists and stuff that can kind of think through the evolution of iron filled red lifeless dirt into soil, but
right.
that's magic shit to me. Like that's like fucking A, man. Like that's crazy. And I sort of get it at like a thin intellectual level. Yeah. But past that, it's just like they're magicians.
Well, again, if you want a good layman's understanding of what will be required, the Red Mars series is a really good place to start because it delves into the science, but in a way that is really accessible, like genetically modifying, earthbound organisms to be, to need less pressure, to need less oxygen. It's to tolerate lower temperatures. Viriditis is what that movement is called, the greening of Mars. Mm-hmm. So that's good stuff. It's just great stuff. Yeah.
Sylvester said alchemy because he's finding all of the good smarty pants words for all of the long phrases that I'm using. Thank you very much for that, sir. Yeah. If Matt Damon can grow vegetables in space, then I'm sure NASA can.
Well, but he's Mark Watney, space pirate. So,
dude,
I will watch that movie every time it comes on.
Me too, man. Like
I can't not.
I don't even know why we're not watching that movie right now.
I also like because it was so funny. Like when he blew himself up with the hydrazine, he's on the camera. I blew myself up again. He's still smoking.
Oh,
yeah, that's good stuff.
Excuse me.
Anyway,
see, okay, Sylvester said, "Can we have an underground wave pool and water park?" This is in the book.
In Red Mars.
The series that Greg's talking about, they actually make one, and they describe the giant, slow-moving waves, right? Because waves on Earth are going to react to whatever force gets applied to them to create the wave, but it's constantly pushed down by like 9.78 meters a second squared acceleration for Earth's gravity, right? Now take 70-ish% of that gravity away, and the waves are 3 to 4 times as big.
Yep.
And
They built there's a breakaway group that starts a secret colony under the under one of the Arctic ice shelves, and they carve out a massive cavern under the ice that has a lake shore that has sea life and birds. It's remarkable.
it's really
remarkable.
cool.
Yeah,
It's really cool. I'm
very
so glad
cold.
you put me onto that book. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's not warm. Yeah, no, I might have to go back and read that series again too, because I've been looking. One book I just started. Tim Ferriss was actually talking about it. Don't go to sleep. I think I talked about it last time. The Exhalation book, which is like short stories or whatever. I'm into the second one now, and they like the quality of the writing is intense. Like it's fucking next level. I can't remember the guy's name, but if you look for the book Exhalation short stories, you're gonna dig it. Legit. Cool. Sylvester's bringing his banana hammock. Awesome. Yes.
I'm giving him the title and author here so he can.
Cool. Mary Ellen has a good question. How can we have NASA and Space Force and miss the asteroid 1,800 miles from Earth? I told you guys the show Space Force is an accurate representation. Yeah, I kind of agree. I mean, Space Force is it's just a branding thing, in my opinion. You know, I think the Air Force is trying to do something intelligent with it, because I mean there are a lot of smart people in the Air Force, my brother-in-law included. Small little bias there, but yeah, I mean the amount of cover, the amount of sky that we're currently looking at to find rocks like that is less than 1%. So right. the better question, in my opinion, is like how are we're doing better than average, right? Exactly. So yeah, and again, like that, we can fix that very easily for less money than we're going to spend on the wall this year. Spaceballs, great.
Yeah,
here it is, right here.
Yeah, I'm a huge fan of the series because it doesn't just tackle the sciencey stuff. It tackles the economics and the social ramifications of, you know, they halfway out they realize we don't have to do anything Earth tells us.
Dude, that's my favorite part. Like I talk about that about
all over again.
Like, yeah. Right, like, so let's say, and it, I think it goes back to like, and talking to Chet about
one of the Russians, by the way.
Of course,
it was one of the Russians that came up with that idea.
Yeah, like instantaneously, like yeah, it was good, and it was right at the halfway mark that they were like, yeah, you can't turn back now, but it sort of shows how all governing systems, especially legacy governing systems, the only reason why they're in force is because they have momentum. Well, they have force. Yeah, like they own the monopoly on violence in their local strata, right?
Right.
And if they don't have that, ultimately, then I mean, what are you gonna do? I mean, eventually they start throwing gravel at them, which is problematic, but that's why you live underground.
Yeah. Well, and if you think about it, it's part of the reason why our revolution was successful was because projecting the power of England over here was incredibly expensive and difficult. You know,
it was hard to do.
10,000 British soldiers to North America logistically is a big deal. Mm-hmm. And that's why it gave us time to put things in place to stop them when they got here. So, you know, that's why local rebellions in Ireland didn't work, but long-term, you know, sustained rebellions in faraway places did.
Yep.
For the most part. So,
well, and this is why it's so fascinating to me that, I mean, that was sort of multinational thing, right? Like everybody had their control functions and you know, it was supposed to be representatives of all the governments and all the corporations, which of course were super powerful or whatever. This is just a guy, right? Not really, because like SpaceX is kind of huge, but I mean, he's building the capacity by themselves, that company, to bring an entire colony of people that will not be beholden to anyone.
Right.
And they're going to be using an extremely decent form of technocratic direct democracy to make decisions that, you know, I think will work. And that's it. What are you going to do? Hire a SpaceX ship and fill it full of Marines and go and, you know, take it over because you own Mars for some reason that you haven't established correctly.
Right.
I don't know.
Yeah. Well, it's also one of the big conflicts in the book series is
Mhm.
Mars is initially managed by the same treaties that govern Antarctica. And when the world governments decide to start drilling for oil in Antarctica, they kind of throw the Mars Treaty out the window. Like, well, look what you did there. We're not having that up here.
Right.
You know.
Anyway, it's cool
It's good
shit.
stuff. I highly recommend anybody who's interested in what the future of humanity will look like, read that series of books because they really do a good job of what ifing some really positive potentials.
I agree.
So yeah. All right. Well, it's like almost 11 o'clock.
It's that time.
Yeah. I'm gonna go back and finish up my book on the Battle of Hue from the Vietnam War. What a shitstorm that was.
Oh,
my
yeah.
God. Did you see the movie Full Metal Jacket?
Yeah, you were talking about it was basically
Yeah,
book
that's the
is
battle
about
that's portrayed.
that battle in the city or whatever.
Yeah. And like the number of Marines that were completely shocked that Vietnamese people had houses, because they'd spent so much time out in the boonies in these little villages with huts.
Right.
That they didn't even know there were Vietnamese that lived like Western lives. So pretty fascinating.
That's crazy pants. See, Mary Ellen asked a really interesting question. Can we buy bits of Mars yet? Maybe a good investment. Who would enforce the property law?
Bingo.
Right? Like that's not a thing.
Yeah, we cannot. You cannot currently buy anything on a foreign planet because there's no enforceability. There's no way to make that stick.
Right.
And the moon, by the way, is governed by treaties. So even there, it would be impossible to do so.
For now.
Yeah.
Now, that said, I do want to tokenize and chop up our Minecraft place and have that be viable and ownable as NFTs, which someday will happen. But that's because God, in this context, Greg, will have the power to basically enforce those laws.
Yes. Going to become one of those evil cattle barons in the American West.
Or, just like the mayor of a town is like, you're having stuff. I don't know. Yep.
All right. That's going to do it for Hashtag Coffee today. We're
is.
back on Wednesday morning, 10 o'clock. Do you have a guest on Wednesday? I thought you...
Do I?
Maybe you mentioned somebody. I don't know. Maybe not.
I'll look. It's entirely possible.
Okay.
Yep. I don't remember. I do know that if you were a previous guest of Chirpcast, and if you're in the top 10, and there are a few people that are part of this family that are at least in the top 20 that might be close to the top 10. I know Boyce is like number 6 or some fucking thing.
Nice.
Which is crazy. Out of like 1,200 people. Then you're going to get access Wednesday morning to the launch of Chirp, and Wednesday night at 8 p.m. I'm going to do a live stream, and anybody who is on throughout the course of that day is welcome to come be part of the roundtable and discuss it and celebrate with us, and shit like that.
Sounds like fun.
Yeah, it's gonna be good.
Sounds like fun. I guess I better get some material ready for the Sasquatch page, huh?
I know, right? That'll be fun.
Yeah.
Sasquatch page.
Channel, not page. Sorry.
Yeah, channel. Yeah.
Yeah.
But
Gonna
still,
get some
that's
graphics ready.
Adorable.
I have a Dave Myers original skunk ape drawing.
Yeah,
right
I mean,
here on
that's
my desk.
Yeah.
That should be.
See, this is the thing, and there's going to be there. I'm already thinking like, okay, well, that could be like the channel's sort of profile picture or whatever, right? But that's not something that we have yet. There's so many things that are going to become clear on that day. Like, hey, can we do this? Can we do this? And like that list is going to get really, really long. And triaging that and evolving it on the fly is going to be the work of the next, I think, 3 months, which is going to be fun.
Nice.
So definitely use it. If you feel like something should have been there that wasn't, that's what we need to know for sure, because we'll just build it. Okay. All right.
Truman fucked over the USSR. I would argue that, having read extensively on that topic, I think Oliver Stone might have that wrong, but I'll watch it to see what the story is there, for sure.
Yes.
Yeah. So the Sasquatch channel is real, or it will be on Wednesday.